Good evening. This is Beyond the Headlines with Bailey Hufstetler. I'm your host, Bailey Hufstetler. Tonight, I have with me my co-host, Robbie Harvey from Spring City, and so we're very excited. We've got two special guests that we're interviewing tonight during this campaign season election coverage that we're doing. The first one is Justus Stout, who's running for County Commissioner, District 5. The second candidate that we're going to be interviewing tonight is going to be a little bit later. We'll finish with Justus. We'll take a break. And then we'll come back with Adam Lowe, who is currently our state senator for District 1 and is running for re-election, all live here in the studio. I first want to thank Robbie for coming all the way from Spring City and coming and doing this, bringing Sonic without offering me
That's
any.
right. It's
first,
good to be
I'll
here.
say
I
that.
didn't know if I was going to make it in time or not.
Yeah,
so.
well, because you stopped at Sonic, and Sonic's just right down the hill from
That's
here.
right.
So, but didn't even think to text me and ask me if I want anything. But it's all right. So, but we're very glad that we've got Justus here. Justus, thank you for coming and joining us. We're very excited. Justus, you also helped advertise as an advertising partner with the county executive debate. I appreciate that as well. Thank you for that, for supporting local journalism. But welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I'm very excited to be on here.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm so excited. I brought you a gift.
You brought me a gift.
And
Oh,
I didn't
my
know you were on a
goodness.
health kick before I did this,
Yeah.
but I'm giving you a huge bag of cherry tomatoes.
Well, look at that. Well, I will tell you that I will eat some of them. And then also, my daughters, they love tomatoes and vegetables and all sorts of stuff. So they will
Perfect.
love these as well.
Those
So
are very
look-
sweet. I just picked them today, so
Well, there you go. Well, look
Yep.
at that. Awesome.
A
Good
green
deal.
thumb.
Yes, I do not have a green thumb at all.
you just need friends that have a green thumb.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. So, well, good deal. Well, Justus, thank you for coming, and we're going to just open up the show with just telling a little us about yourself.
Oh, yeah. My name is Justus Stout. It's a strange first name, Justus, Justus Stout. Yeah, I live in Dayton with my wife and my 3 daughters. Their names are Rahab, Penny, and Sybil. I was on the fence about mentioning them, but on my way out the door, they said, "Are you going to talk about us?" I said, "You want me to?" They said, "Yeah." "Are you going to say my name?" "Yeah, okay, I'll say your name."
Yeah.
So anyway, Rahab, Penny, and Sybil, they're sweet. They go to Dayton City School.
Yeah.
And I first came to Dayton a long time ago now. It was in 2008.
Yeah.
So however many years ago that is. Came from Bryan College and basically just stuck around.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Dayton's a great place to be. Rhea County in general is a great place to be. And so you've decided to jump into politics. So tell me a little bit about what prompted you to run. What was the reasoning on why you decided to run for this office?
Yeah, a couple different reasons. The one reason is several years ago, one of my best friend's mom was jogging through a neighborhood and she got attacked by a pack of dogs.
Oh, wow.
And it was very scary. And thankfully, a pickup truck pulled up and, she jumped in and she was kind of rescued in that way. But she had to go to the hospital, had 18 stitches. And they called animal control. And basically the response was, "Well, the shelter's full, so we can't do anything about it." Now, there's more to that story. And I'll tell more of that story maybe later because I ended up going to the shelter, meeting the people running it, talked to some people from the sheriff department. So it turns out there's more to that story. But that was the story I knew for several years. And Dayton and Rhea County, dude, I love where I live.
Yeah.
For a while there, I was doing a job just online, and I could have lived anywhere. And my wife and I were like, "Where should we live? We can, I have this online job. We can live anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, spin the globe, find a spot." And we quickly concluded, no, this is too great of a place. We love living here and raising our kids here. But that one story and that one issue is something that really frustrated me.
Yeah.
And people shouldn't be afraid to jog in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
So there was that. There was the animal control part of it. But the other reason, that I really decided to run, that's my why, but the prompting to actually submit the paperwork was that I was approached by some people who follow county politics and they're in the know. And they said, "Hey, Justus, we think that your talents and abilities, you would serve the county and this community really well by running for seat 5. District 5. So,
Awesome.
I called some other people who also follow everything and was like, listen, I don't particularly need this in my life. This is going to be a lot of work. This is going to take a lot of time. But if it would be truly a benefit, and if I could actually be helpful in this seat, then I'll run. But tell me if it's kind of just a wash, or tell me if. And they were like, no, actually, that would be really great. So I decided to run.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you went to Bryan College, you mentioned, and then professionally, just give us what experiences do you have that's prepared you to be on the county commission?
Well, I am kind of a serial entrepreneur, and people in Rhea County probably best know me as a landlord. I was listening to your interview with Justin Davis, and y'all mentioned, there's Justus Stout. He's a landlord. And it's so funny to hear that because, that's a relatively new thing for me.
Yeah. And
so much of my life has just been running tiny businesses, founding nonprofits. And they've, many of them have been successful, which has been wonderful. I founded a nonprofit in 2018 that's still going really strong. And anyway, but yeah, starting and running scrappy businesses that are successful is an incredibly difficult thing to do. And part of the thing about county commission is that at the end of the day, a lot of that job is money management. It's determining the priorities of the county and figuring out what budget goes where. And if there's anything that running a successful small business teaches you, it's how to be on a strict budget. Yeah. Because if you're not, you don't eat, and whenever you're running a small, when what you buy food with is running a small business, you have to be strict on your budget, and you have to prioritize that. So I think that that is one of the things that has prepared me. I've also been attending the meetings and trying to read up on county stuff and attend the county commission meetings. So there are other things.
That's good. That's awesome.
So are there any areas where you believe the county is overspending?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. That's a really hard one, because whenever I look at the county budget, I see them doing as much as they can with what they've got. So I'd have to get in the real nitty gritty to actually figure that out. And I've started to attend the budget meetings and stuff like that. So I'll more and more get a feel for it. But whenever they reappraise the properties in Rhea County, the state adjusted the tax rate down so that there wouldn't be this huge rate increase. In fact, they adjusted in such a way that for the most part, it just flattened out and there wasn't an increase at all. Some people, there was still a small increase. Some people was actually a decrease. But basically what that means is Rhea County is running a budget that is having to pay post-2020 expenses like inflation on a pre-2020 budget. So that is immensely difficult. It's immensely difficult. So are there spots that they're overpaying? I'm sure that, when you get in there are some savings to be had here and there, but I'm not going to throw a bunch of shade, actually. I think that they're doing quite well for the most part. But it's just, if costs increase any more at all, like running an incredibly strict budget is going to be immensely important if we're not going to raise property taxes.
Okay.
And I own a lot of property, so I don't want taxes to go up. But if that's going to happen, we have to run this like a small business. We have to get very serious about keeping costs low.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And that answered a couple of questions in there, so that was great. So
Okay.
yeah. No, you're good.
So for some of the viewers that may not know, you're running for District 5 County Commission. So can you kind of give an overview of where that district lies for any voters who may not know if they're in your district or not?
Yeah, so if you're looking at a map, it's mostly Dayton, like the city. If you're looking at a map, you've got Highway 27, and then you've got the city on this side of Highway 27. It's mostly on this side. There's a little bit of Bryan Hill, Highland Drive, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's this side of Highway 27 starting at Illinois Avenue and going all the way to the Eagle Exxon.
Perfect.
So if you kind of just draw a rectangle, that's
Okay.
A very small area, but a very large amount of people.
Yes, exactly. If you look at the maps of all the other districts,
Yes.
it is so small. It is like this tiny little thing in the middle. And that's because it's based on population.
Correct,
So high population density. You have District 1, for example, which is way north of Spring City, and it is geographically giant.
Right.
But that's because its population is a lot more sparse comparatively.
Good deal. What role do you think that the county government should play in economic development?
Well, the role that they do play, for the most part, is good. You know, the decisions that they make, you know, there are ones that I think will be better or worse, but the role that they play is generally pretty good. You have ROTC, which is Rhea Economic and Tourism, and that's headed up by Alex Green. And basically, they have properties that are prepared for industrial development, and they're courting industry. And I think that that's, you know, we could have a philosophical conversation about should county own properties, or, you know, we can, you know, libertarian versus whatever. But ultimately, this is how we've decided to do it in Rhea County, and I think it's working.
Yeah.
And I think that the people in charge, like, I think Alex is doing a really good job. Yeah. And I've attended a bunch of his meetings, and the things that he wants to do and does not want to do are mostly aligned with, you know, me. Like, I would agree with them for the most part. Like, he doesn't want a paper mill, for example. That was something that someone actually, a paper mill approached Dayton, or Rhea County rather, and was like, hey, we want to set up a paper mill. He's like, absolutely not, because they stink, literally. You know, I've heard him talk about wanting to, if possible, bring in any of the high-tech energy industry, that Oak Ridge and all that, you know, and obviously we have Watts Bar and Sequoia. So if there are ancillary industries that might be able to set up in Rhea County, that would be awesome.
Perfect.
But, you know, no data centers, you know. So I think, yeah, short answer is I think they're doing a good job, and I, for the most part, agree with the decisions they're making. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Data centers was a big question at our county executive debate this past week. So we'll shift to that really quick. So you mentioned that. So the county, I don't know if they've met yet. I know that Alex actually posted a video. And speaking of Alex, we're actually going to have Alex on the show at the end of the month. So we're very excited about that, because Alex is doing a really good job. I've known Alex for a while. I really use him as a mentor when it comes to government and what things, you know, how things are going. And I'll send him stuff sometimes and just ask him, you know, what his opinion is. So
don't send him this one. Just have him in here and tell him, oh, Justus really said you did a terrible job on air, and just see what he says.
Well, if I know Alex, he's probably watching this already, or he's going to watch it. He's going to watch it soon. So because I know that he watches the show, so he'll probably already see it before I get the chance. But I know the county, Alex had talked about, you know, that it looks like that basically city and county are probably going to put a hold on this right now until we just find out more about what data centers actually are and what they're going to do. So I'm assuming that you support that.
Yeah. The overwhelming will of the community is no.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be bad representation to do otherwise.
Perfect.
I think that some community, I wouldn't judge other communities if they decided to do it. I think that there's a probably more nuanced conversation that could happen for other places, and you know, pros and cons, but Rhea County is obviously against it, so I'm against it.
Yeah. Perfect. And I like that term that you say, Rhea County is against it, so I'm against it. So it almost seems like to me that you're going to listen to the people, and you're going to listen to their concerns, and you're going to base a judgment off of that, and not so much as something that is going to benefit yourself, but more for the community is what that sounds like. So I like that.
Yeah, well, there's a couple reasons for that. The first one is this is just local politics, man. So I could act like I'm a saint, but also people have my phone number.
Right.
You know, people know me.
Yeah.
People know where I live. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the best part about local politics. I wish all politics could be local. I wish everyone had the president's phone number or could call his mom and be like, hey, what's your son doing? He's crazy. And call your son and tell him straight up. Like, I wish all politics was local because there's way more accountability. Yeah. So if you get out of line, you just find out. Yeah. You find out, and I've seen that happen, There have been some city council meetings where something that they thought was usual business, and then no, people don't like that, and they found out quickly. And I think whether or not I don't know, I can't remember what the different issues were, but like when there's a great level of accountability in local politics. So that's just the way that local politics is, and for good reason. Yeah. But also I've been here for a long time now, but I feel so blessed to be here that I hear people complain about Rhea County or complain about Dayton or say they're not doing this right and they're not doing this right. I feel overwhelmingly, there's some things that can be fixed and there's improvements that can be made, and we want to grow in the right direction. This is all true. But I am overwhelmingly grateful to be here, and I'm not going to act like it should be super different. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like Rhea County. I like how we've decided to live here, and I'll go along with that.
That's one of the perks of choosing to live here.
Yes.
You were able to choose to live here. I think that's a great thing. You were able to raise your 3 daughters. That's the same. I'm doing the same thing. So
nice.
I think that's wonderful that you chose to live here, and you do feel blessed to be here because you love the community. You love who you're talking to. So who you're going to represent is what you're hoping. So
yeah.
I do have one on. Let's see my question here. You talked about. I know that you said you're at Dayton City School. Your kids are at Dayton City School. Yeah. So transparency, where people are going to hit you up at. How will you make yourself accessible to constituents?
I think I already am.
Right.
And there. Well, first of all, let's be just really practical. If I win, then on the county commissioner page, there's a page, and it has each county commissioner, and it has their phone number on there. So whether or not I choose for, that'll be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I get in, y'all can look it up. My phone number will be there, and it's my cell phone, which means you can call it and you can text. But as far as being proactive to make myself available, I am just very involved in the community, and I don't necessarily mean like I'm just around. I'm at Harmony House. I'm at Drip. I go to all the events. Strawberry Fest. Like I am just. We love living in town, and we partake of life in town. So, before work got so busy, I used to bike everywhere. So literally, people would just know me as a guy on, and I have blonde hair and I'm tall, so I'm kind of recognizable. So if I get county commissioner, I don't think I could hide if I wanted to. I'm just incredibly visible.
Yeah, you can't, because it's been a couple weeks ago now. I was driving, I can't remember where I was headed, but I was driving and you and your wife were walking downtown, and I beat my horn and waved, and you waved back and you smiled, and so, but yeah, no, you can't hide.
Can't hide.
So.
Yeah, and I like it. I love it. I love it. I love being known. That's something that, I came to Dayton when I was 17, so I was pretty young. But growing up in a place, for example, like Atlanta, where I spent several years, you're just anonymous. You walk into the mail, the post office, no one knows you. You walk into the grocery store, no one knows you. And living in Dayton, I walk into the post office, they recognize, even if they don't know my name, I've been there before. I walk into anywhere, and people know me. And it feels so much more grounded. It feels like real life. It feels like a village. It feels like how humans are supposed to live. So yeah, I couldn't hide in Dayton, even if I wanted to.
That's awesome. So one thing that we've talked about a little bit. So your opponents. So you're running against Justin Davis, which he's been on the show and he interviewed here on the show. Veteran. We also have Emily Fisher, who is currently in this seat, who has been on this, on the commission for a while. So you're going against an incumbent, and then you're also going against Frankie Robinson, who is a local business owner. Family's been embedded in this community for years. what do you think, for one, your biggest challenge is going to be with those things, and also two, I mean, what stands out about you other than your opponents? Like, what's that gonna, why should the voters choose you over them?
Yeah, I mean, challenges, they're all great people. That, you know, I've heard, you know, I've been doing a lot of door to door, and I hear great things about Emily. So, and she, you know, she was a librarian at the high school for a long time, so she's well known. So yeah, it's a challenge to run up against, you know, a fixture like that. So that's certainly a challenge. And they seem to be good people. So it's, you know, I wouldn't run a dirty campaign anyway, but like there's nothing there, you know, they're good people. But what makes me stand out, you know, I think that the skills that I bring, I didn't know Frankie Robinson was a small business owner, so I share that with him. Running small businesses, it really does hone a particular set of skills that are helpful in a position like county commissioner, where it's like 90% budget stuff, which is so boring to a lot of people. It's so crucial. It's so important to make a good budget and stick to it, execute on it. So, yeah, my experience in running businesses, and I would say like just an excitement and vision for the position. I'm a pretty energetic guy, and everything that I do, I put myself into it quite a bit, even like the campaign. So I come on strong, even just interpersonally, and I hope that I have a lot of signs out, and I hope it hasn't annoyed folks. But, you know, whenever I decide to do something, I decide to go all out, and I try to do the best possible job I can do. So bringing that energy and dedication to the seat, I think that might make me stand out. But, you know, the other people probably think the same thing about themselves, so I don't know. Well, you decide.
And I think your age, too. Something that I like to see on any board is a variety of different ages, even different ethnicities, you know, just a variety of people. That way that we can get different opinions and different views from different generations. Yeah. And I feel like this county in general has just really been, even on the city commission, in both city commissions, Dayton and Spring City and even Graysville, you have the same people. For one, you have the same people running every time. Yeah. You have the same people winning every time. And they're typically all retired business people who have owned businesses in the county, and I'm not trying to be mean, but they're older, and they've been doing it, for years. And it's just, you know, sometimes I feel like that there's time for new, fresh ideas. Growth doesn't come from stagnicity. And when you have the same people running and winning all the time, even though you don't mean to, but you can get stagnant, you know, without change. Change is not always bad. People think change is bad. It's not always bad. So I really think that's something that I feel like, you know, standing out is your age as well. It's
that mixture, like you said, that's important, because you don't want all young, because you need the wisdom that comes with years, and you need experience. You need someone who's been doing it. I've been attending those county and commission meetings, and I wish I could say I watched it and was like, oh man, I can't wait to show up because I'll know. It's like, no, they ran a great meeting. They really did. And it's like, oh, I got to pay attention. They're following Robert's Rules of Order, which I already know because of non-profit boards and stuff, but it's like, oh, I got to like sharpen up because they're on it. So, you know, experience, wisdom, that's all super important, but you need the mixture. You need to bring the energy that comes with youth, the dedication that comes with youth, and maybe the creativity or different skill sets. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to use like Google Docs, you know, stuff like that. So not to say that, you know, people with years can't, but what I'm saying is you bring a suite of tools that are native to your age that might not necessarily be there. But I'll also say, you know, you said a lot of people have been running and holding positions for a long time. City council, you know, you've got Mackenzie Bowling. You've got Caleb Yawn. And they're doing a great job. Yeah, they are. And that couples really well with age. I mean, Hurley Marsh is not a spring chicken, but I wouldn't say that I would want a young mayor. He's doing a fantastic job. Yeah. Hurley and I get along super well. Yeah. And I think he would, as hard as I think I'm a hard worker, I'm a high production individual, high productivity. But if I had to follow Hurley Marsh around, I would collapse at the end of the day. Oh, yes. So it's like the mixture of both of those is going to be really the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And like on the county commission, Jacob Ellis is a young dude, and he's a fantastic person, and I think he's doing a great job. So the mixture is really the sweet spot. You don't want all of one or the other.
Yeah. I live around the corner from Hurley, and I see him leave his house all the time with his truck and his big old trailer with all the lawnmowers on it, and he's going to mowing lawn somewhere. So he works. He works.
He is.
So,
I'm super impressed with him.
yeah, that's awesome. And he's doing really good as a mayor.
Yep.
So we've got a few more minutes for maybe another question or two. Do you have anything pressing that you'd like to ask?
I don't. You covered a lot. We had several questions that you covered, like
In your
budget.
answers,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, in your answers, you really took care of it. I would like to go back to your first topic, was the lady that got attacked by the dogs.
Yeah.
So how can you, as a county commissioner, help with things like that? How can you help our sheriff's department? How can you help, in those like the EMS, things like that? How can you help with that?
Yeah. So animal control is my number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main thing that I'm running on, as well as working on keeping the budget low so that we don't have to raise taxes. But that's a fantastic question, because remember I started and said, well, that was a story I knew for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm on the Chamber of Commerce, and they sent out an email saying, oh, the shelter is having a volunteer day, and we need people to help paint the new stalls. So I was like, you know what? I'm running on how this thing needs to be improved. I should probably show up, A, to help, and B, to get educated, to find out what the real situation is, because I had assumptions. And not just assumptions. I knew the lived experience of a lot of Dayton folks, but there's always two sides of the story. So I had heard all these sides of the story, which are legitimate and true, but I needed to hear these sides of the story. So I showed up at the shelter, and I did get educated. So there's a lot going on there that I did not realize. They're doing a lot with a little. Let's just start there. And they partner with a nonprofit, and the nonprofit is building a new facility that's going to almost triple their capacity for kennels and stuff like that. Now they're going to have to staff it, so there's going to be some things. There's going to be some investment that has to happen. But they're doing a fantastic job there. And so then I asked them, I was like, hey, do you know this story about this lady that got bit? And it turns out, even though she had been told something like, hey, kennels are full, we can't do anything, they did follow up, and they did get those dogs. And I talked to someone from the sheriff's department, and I talked to the lady who heads up animal control, and they both confirmed that. And part of the problem there is what probably happened was there was probably a volunteer on the phone and just had not been trained for the appropriate response for a violent incident.
Okay.
Because both of these people that I talked to were like, no. Anytime something like that happens, and all evidence shows that those dogs did get picked up, but that's still a problem. Like, whoever's on the phone needs to be trained. You would know about that, and it shouldn't. Kennels being full is never an excuse to not pick up a violent, dangerous dog off the street. So proper training, and doing so much with so little. There's probably a little bit of fatigue on the side of the employees who are at something like the shelter. I've run a nonprofit that was super small and scrappy, and you can hit burnout. And so being able to run it in such a way that you have people on the phone that aren't getting snappy because they're burnout, that's a big deal. So anyway, yeah, kind of the coming around to the end of that story, I'm super impressed with what they're doing, with the new facilities they're building. I'm really eager to jump in and help. Okay. And do what I can on the county commission to make their work a priority, so that the felt experience of people in Rhea County is better than it currently is now, pertaining to strays and animals and stuff like that. Did that actually answer your question?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. Just making sure.
Well, as we're closing, because we do, we are running out of time, and Adam's here, so we're also going to jump into his interview as well. But give us your 30-second, I about said 30-minute, not 30 minute.
I can do it.
Yeah, your 30-second elevator pitch, elevator speech on why we should vote for you in August.
Oh, I think I've already done it. My main thing's animal control. I really do want to improve the lived experience of people who live in Rhea County. Feral cats is a huge thing right now. It's springtime, so there are a ton of feral cat, kittens who need to be picked up. Spay, neuter, release, even if it's catch and release, if they, get spayed or neutered and, get shots and stuff. So animal control is my main thing. Improving the relationship between the city and the county, city of Dayton and Rhea County. Like I said, I get along really well with Hurley. He has not endorsed me. I'm not going to pretend like he's endorsed me or anything like that, but we have a good relationship, and I think that would create a warm connection between the county and the city, as well as some of those other guys on the commission, the city council rather. So improving the relationship between the city of Dayton and the county commission, which has already gotten better, and trying to keep taxes low by running a really strict budget and doing as much as we can with as little as we can, so that we don't have to hike anything. Yeah, that's my elevator pitch.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you for coming and being on the show. Thank you for the tomatoes as well. As one of your constituents, I'm going to give you some homework that I would like for you to look up on a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask you any questions about it, but I want you to look up looking at ways that we can improve our emergency services response times with ambulances and things, especially in the rural parts of our county. And we'll talk later about why I'm asking that, but I just want to publicly ask you to look into that a little bit.
Okay. I will look into it,
research.
And if we have another episode, we'll dive into that.
That'll work. That's awesome.
All right. Maybe I'll be county commissioner there.
Hey, there you go. Good deal.
All right.
Thank you. If you'll bear with us for just a moment, we are going to take a quick break, get Adam Lowe in here, get Adam situated, and then we will start the second interview with Adam Lowe, our state senator for District 1, talk about things that are happening in Tennessee. But thank you, Justice, for coming. We really appreciate it. And y'all just hang tight. We'll be back here in just a few moments. Good evening and welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on that quick little break. Had a great interview with Justus Stout, who's running for County Commission for District 5. Now we have a good friend of mine, Adam Lowe, who is our current State Senator for District 1, and he is also running for re-election, and so he is coming on to talk to us a little about what's going on in the state and about his campaign. So, Adam, thank you for coming and being involved.
Well, thanks for having me on. This is hearkening back to the radio days when I said 3 days a week I had to pop on a station and do a studio like this, and content's hard. I don't think a lot of folks realize what you guys have to do in putting together a show. I mean, folks tune in to listen, but you have to prepare and make sure you have content. And if you've done a solo show, haven't you, Bailey? Yeah, those are tough. Yeah, you're talking to yourself. You feel a little crazy at the end. So
Bailey is full of words, though. He is able to talk.
Listen,
he doesn't get breaks very often.
No, I do not. So listen, I actually mentioned something yesterday with somebody I was talking to. I was like, I'll talk to anybody. You give me somebody, I'll talk to anybody. My wife gives me a 5-person limit in Walmart that I'm allowed to talk to.
Oh, really?
And I meet that within 30 minutes.
You go into Walmart? You still go in?
Unfortunately.
Do you? Okay.
Either Walmart or Food City, but either one, I have 5 people I can talk to, and that's it.
I loathe shopping, even if it's for milk. I will pay the premium to get it from the corner store. I really will. I'll pay a premium not to keep looking for a car. That's the truck I want. I'll take that one. I can't stand to shop. And Walmart, to me, is like the epitome of navigating the aisles of hell.
Oh, yes.
But you do get to see some good folks. For us, it's anytime we try to eat out. Yeah. Like, we know it's going to take an extra hour. Yeah. If we sit down at a table, everybody wants to come over, talk to you, catch up. Oh, yeah. And we enjoy that part of it, usually if you pull up a chair kind of situation. So.
Yeah, no, I can talk, so, and I love doing it, so it's all right. Adam, you've served on the state senate since 2023. Tell us something about, you've been serving for a while. You've met the great people of Rhea County, also your other district as well. You serve Rhea County and then McMinn, Meigs, and Bradley.
You got it.
Look at that. Didn't even look at that before I said that. But tell me something, that what has been really the biggest honor you being able to serve?
There are occasions where you are really the solution. You've got to answer the phone, you got to do the thing, and somebody has a really big need. I had a lady year 1 call me and said, they're kicking my son out of his assisted living facility. He was a paraplegic after an accident. TennCare's kicked him out. It was real. Like, they had 48 hours. And, we had to get on the horn and get that situation ironed out and get him reapproved. And so when you get to those situations, you realize, wow, you really do stand in the gap for real-world, life-altering situations for people. Yeah. And so you come out of that. In the middle of it, you're working diligently to try to get everything together, getting the right people on the phone, making sure you have a relationship to where you have access to help out the people that you're trying to help. And then when it settles and it's all done and it's finished, it's like completing a Lego set or something, and you can take that sigh of relief, and that's kind of when the honor sets in and you think, I mattered to somebody today. Yeah. I think that's it.
That's good. That's awesome. Looking back over your term and how long you served, is there anything that you wish that you would have handled differently?
Well, I think I would. Going into the Senate in Nashville, we have a Republican supermajority. Mm-hmm. So there's 27 Republicans, there's 6 Democrats, and I still kind of operate with East Tennessee good Christian love. People can agree to disagree. You can still get along in disagreement. That is not the case in Nashville, Tennessee sometimes. People in something they're passionate about, if you're disagreeable, they hate you. It's immediately jumps to the most hyperbolic, extreme kind of reaction. I think I would have been more aware of that, a little more rooted down to earth. I kind of went up there thinking, I'm gonna do my best to have good relationships with people, even if I'm voting different from them, even if I'm disagreeable. It's just not possible to have those kind of relationships with everybody. So you have to figure out kind of grounds of mutual respect with people. So I think that's the biggest thing that I would have done going up. I was a little spoiled because my predecessor, Mike Bell, who was an amazing state senator, did a great job. You guys in Rhea County didn't know him because I picked up this area in District 1 as part of redistricting. He didn't have District 1. Ken Yeager served in this district. But Mike Bell was my senator on the other side of the river. He was in the building. Like, he had stepped away. If you're going to take a state job and you're in the legislature, you have to step away, depending on the position, 6 months to a year before you can take that job. And he had stepped away, retired early, and had come back working for Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Oh, wow.
So I was a bit spoiled with having his institutional wisdom to guide me, to where I wasn't necessarily alone in trying to figure out, where to go. And because we had this long-term established relationship, there was a lot of trust.
Yeah.
So I knew that he wasn't going to lead me astray. So I think that helped me avoid a lot of the pitfalls.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's real awesome.
So since we're here, we're in Rhea County.
Yeah.
Your favorite county to serve, I know.
It is. It's wonderful.
You are here a lot, so.
Yeah, I prefer to come by boat. It's actually quicker to get to Dayton by boat than it is actually to drive here. But yeah, I live this side in the middle of the district. If you were to look at the district, I live the Meigs Rhea County side of McMinn County. So in some ways, coming over here is easier than going to South Bradley or even over to going to Englewood in McMinn County's 50-minute drive across the county. Yeah. Think about that.
That's
it's not like Graysville to Spring City.
Yeah.
Right. When I spoke to your wife, I think Meet the Candidates in Spring City, she was like, yeah, sometimes we're 3 hours away from each other and we're just 2 counties away. So I definitely get that. But so to get to the question, Rhea County residents often talk about economic growth. What specific actions have you taken to bring jobs and investment to our community?
Well, the first thing Tennessee's tried to do is be a good place to do business. Mm-hmm. And when we say do business, we're not honing in on one particular. We need a balance. You got to have industry. You have to have manufacturing. You have to have small business. One of the first things that I did my first year, we cut taxes pretty tremendously, about $1 billion since I've been in 4 years. And that small business taxes, a big chunk of them were like F&E taxes. So if you were a small business person, your first $50,000 was exempt before you started kicking in on your state taxes. We bumped that exemption up to like $150,000. So you got another $100,000 headroom you're not paying taxes on. Little things like that go a long way to give small business people money back in their pocket, because it's still the cornerstone of our economy is small business. They're the number one employer. It's not just mom and pop. It's the service providers in your community. It's the people who work on your car, work on your house, the contractors. So that was a really influential thing for them to keep more of their money. A tax cut in that small business environment. Many of those are sole proprietorships or LLCs, so that's pass-through taxation. It comes back to those families. But at the same time, as a community wants to grow and have jobs like Nokian and Lazy Boy, those people get to choose where they set up shop. And so Tennessee has to be attractive to good employers like that, good partners. We often use that phrase, good partners. We want a good partner. Part of being a good partner is there's what they bring to the table and what you bring to the table. They might bring jobs to the table, which is great for families, but they also might bring revenue to the table. They might generate revenue, which both off the jobs, both off the property taxation of the facilities, all of that helps community. But in the same right, we have to have a good educated workforce. Like, we have to have the workforce availability. You have to have places for the workforce to live. Mm-hmm. So we've tackled economic development to the tune that now we're number 3 in the nation for business growth. Tennessee is. That's not isolated to just Nashville. Nashville's a big part of it. West Tennessee's a big part of it. But East Tennessee's contributing in that too. The 75 corridor is still an attractive place in East Tennessee, and just parallel to that is 27. So you have these north-south corridors and gateways that really are attractive to people who want to come and benefit from good people and a good workforce. Rhea County has that. We have a very capable workforce. We have a very available workforce, and that's the number one thing employers look for. It's not necessarily incentives from the county commission or anything like that. Do I have the people who can work in this plant? Are they going to stay? Are they competent? Do I have the local educational institutions, not just K through 12, but the Cleveland States, the Roan States, the TCATs that can do the training we need to provide for those jobs? So Tennessee, in growing for business, it's not just the tax cut. It's putting the TCAT in Rhea County, right? It's investing in workforce development in K through 12 education. I carried the bill that expanded the CTE credit availability to high school students in the state. That's big for Rhea County, Tennessee. It was big for Bradley County and McMinn County because CTE is such a big part of those high school programs. So when you look at economic development like that, business development, it's a whole bag kind of approach.
Perfect. So you talk about business growth. Tennessee is growing population-wise as well. People love Tennessee. People are wanting to. They've realized that Tennessee is the place to be, and so they're moving to Tennessee. How should the state, and I'm sure you've been working on this, balance that and to be to embrace the growth, but also keep Rhea County's rural, Meigs County, to keep that rural feel in District 1. How do you think the state needs to combat that?
We need signs that say we're full. Just put them at the border as you come in at the rest areas. Sometimes I feel that way. I get stuck in traffic, and I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, how did I get stuck in traffic on Lamontville Road? Right. This is something we have to contend with. I think I'm okay with people wanting to be here. Tennessee's a great place. I fully endorse what we're doing in Tennessee. We're one of the most conservative states right now. We're a great place for economic growth. We're a great place to raise a family. People are thirsty for that. Retirees want to come here because we don't tax income. We don't have an income tax. That's an attractive environment. Yeah. But we want the right people in Tennessee. So I remind, when I'm out door knocking or campaigning, I bump into a lot of people who are recently moved here. The first thing I tell them is welcome home. This is your home now. I say that for two reasons. I want them to feel welcome, but also want them to treat it like their home, that they're going to be here for some enduring piece of time. But also say, hey, be a refugee, not a missionary. The things you left from in California and New York and Michigan that you're escaping, the high taxable environments, the excessive regulation, the social hysteria during things like a pandemic. Don't bring those here. Like that, you tried to escape that, but also don't bring your distrust. We understand that you can show us on the doll where they hurt you in New York, right? We understand that you might have come from a very politically traumatic situation in another state. Don't automatically assume that's going to happen in Tennessee. We still believe in family first. You guys have heard me say it. There are two principles, cornerstone principles I operate by in governance. Family's the cornerstone of every healthy society, and we legislate morality. There's not a law in our books that's not based on a moral premise. We believe in that. We believe in family. We want your family to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. We want to give you the environment to self-prosper. We don't necessarily want the government to be your fix on everything. We want to give you choice and freedom and the flexibility to live life and have it more abundantly. We want to live out the Declaration of Independence we just celebrated in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in Tennessee. So please, please, please don't bring your trauma and saddle it on us as if we were the offender, because I think if you'll relax and you'll see that Tennessee is a great conservative state. Now, I understand if you're not conservative, you probably don't like some of those things. I do, and truth positive, most of the district does. I mean, last general election, I won 83% of the vote, and I tell people it's not because I was so great. It's that conservative. The district's that conservative. So, yeah, have a little faith in us.
Yeah, good deal. Good deal.
So let's talk about the hot topic of education. We have what is it? How we spend our money. Let's see. As a member of the Senate Education Committee, what changes in education are you most proud of, and what still needs improvement? And so if you want to go ahead and talk about vouchers, if you want to talk about anything like that, I know
Vouchers.
that vouchers.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a hot topic on your Facebook account. I follow you and your the lady that you're running against.
He's even getting beat up by someone running
I mean,
for
they're running
state
against
Senate,
me.
She's running against
Yeah,
you.
no.
All right.
We're all running for it.
Right,
We
right.
just the semantics, I guess.
Yes. But if you want to go and talk about that, talk about how school choice, things like that. I'm from an education family. I know you're from an education family. So the people that I go back home to would be upset if I didn't ask you about the
Right.
voucher
No, this is
system.
great.
So, yeah.
No, I love the opportunity to talk about it because so much of what people come to me with that they're upset about isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a phenomenon that's isolated to education. It's easy to defeat a thing by creating fear around something that's not really there, a boogeyman in the closet. We saw this in education it got effectively known as the third grade retention law. That wasn't the law. It was a literacy initiative, a literacy law. And in fact, a previous director right here in Rhea County sent out a letter to every parent in his school system that was of a third grader with my cell phone number on it, contact number, saying that 60% of their third graders were going to get retained under this law. Less than 0.1% got retained. And not even in third grade, but fourth grade, because the law wasn't about retention, it was about literacy. It was providing extra resources to get students more literate. And again, it's okay if we're going to be academics in education to disagree about the merits of a thing, but don't fabricate something that's not real. Mm-hmm. And so I've kind of moved over the last 4 years into a place where I'm finding the same people are wrong all the time, and I'm just not going to trust them anymore. And some of them serve in elected offices around you, and some of them serve in bureaucracy in Nashville, and some of them serve as employees of systems. We have to get past that. We have to start getting to the merits of why a thing works and doesn't work. Here's the condition of education in Tennessee, and you asked what I was most proud of. We are making gains. And we're making gains for, I think, some very practical things that we've done to try to improve education in Tennessee. You'll notice I don't use the word public education because I think we're trying to improve all education. Public education is 95% of it. It's the big beast. It's next to roads and infrastructure, kind of the largest consumer of the tax base. We've invested as a society over the last 100 years tremendously in the fact that education is valuable. When we look at education holistically, in public education, we've addressed teacher pay. We've got teacher starting pay up to $50,000 a year. We've increased overall spending to education 45% in the past 10 years, $2.5 billion just in my 4 years. No senator in my seat has voted for more funding to public education than I have. Like, the state of Tennessee has been committed to all education, public education first. Mm-hmm. We have done that. Those budgets are up 45% despite student populations being stagnant or lower. Our student populations aren't necessarily growing. And that's not because of educational diversity. It's because people aren't having children like they used to. Mm-hmm. They're waiting later, they're having fewer children, or they're not having children at all. And so our student populations are actually going back. Even as our overall population's going up, our student population's kind of sustaining but kind of drifting back, depending on which system you're in. My wife is the principal in Polk County. When she started 18 years ago as a school counselor there, they were at 600 students in the high school. They're down to 380. Mm-hmm. That's natural student attrition based on sociological dynamics we have to contend with to try to keep things going. Even so, we've increased investment in education, trying to keep our teachers. That way our retention issues don't persist. We've given teachers more protection. Oh, thank you. More protection from classroom abuse. We had to pass laws that said a teacher doesn't have to sit there and just let a student assault them. Mm-hmm. Teachers asked for that. They needed that. So keeping good teachers in the classroom works. I carried and passed, after 40 years of talking about it, the bill for merit pay. So we essentially took the TISA formula and we unencumbered it. We gave it to your school board here in Rhea County, here in City Council in Dayton, and we said, you can spend it how you need to. You don't have to fall back on the old pay structures, socialist pay structures of the TEA. You can shift over to merit pay. You can pay more high-demand positions more. You can be more aggressive here. You can keep your veteran teachers. You can do those things. So that keeps good teachers in the classroom. We've provided the resources for literacy, the paraprofessionals, the extra tutoring, the opportunity for summer boot camps. We funded the transportation to those things. It was very important for Rhea County because we know literacy is where all learning begins. If they're not literate by 5th grade, it's a downward spiral. It's a struggle all the way through high school. That was unfair not only to those students but to the teachers in later grades. Mm-hmm. So we've made some of those reforms. We've started looking at testing. I carried the bill that created the task force to look at how we're assessing not only teachers professionally, but how we're assessing our students. We really don't have, and people use this as a kind of a fear term, high-stakes testing in Tennessee. There's not a test you take as an elementary school student that screws your life up, all right? You go overseas, that's different. You don't pass a certain way at a certain school, you wind up in a track for the rest of your life. You're going to be part of this workforce or that workforce. We don't really have that. But testing anxiety is real, and we got to figure out how to deal with that. And so we're trying to deal with that. Embedded in that is kind of the ever-changing youth mental health picture in education. So we've started addressing that. We gave schools some cover in outlawing cell phones, which were huge distractions. Those, again, were ground-up requests from educators saying, help us, help us, help us. Mm. The state has tried to help in public education, but at the same time, in helping public education, we have to realize it's unreasonable to ask public education to be everything to everybody. Mm-hmm. That there are some people who are exceptional for whatever reason. Either they don't fit, and that's 90% of the time they don't fit. They're looking for a different academic path. They're looking for a different instructional path. They may have a disability or special need that needs to be accommodated. And so those people, they look at homeschool, they look at private school, they look at charter schools. We've tried to, in Tennessee, create enough educational freedom to where the student, mind you, has access to the most optimal form of education to be the most productive and responsible taxpaying adult one day. That's the best investment of a taxpayer, is getting a student through the path that makes them the most optimal. So that's kind of been Tennessee's universal approach to that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Moving on to our economy. So Tennessee, we have a strong economy here. We're not hurting. We're doing really well. How many years in a row balanced budget has that happened?
Forever. It's a constitutional requirement.
So. Yeah,
like we cannot sine die, adjourn if we don't balance the budget.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wouldn't it be great if we had that at the federal level?
Yes, most definitely.
Solve a lot of our problems.
Yes. What additional steps do you think that the legislature could take to help our working families here deal with the rising costs, inflation, all of that we see going on right now?
Well, the first thing you have to do is recognize that economic forces are very rarely made better when government gets involved. Supply and demand, when you start to overregulate, things fall apart. It's a thing called a Laffer curve. Are y'all familiar with the Laffer curve? Mm-hmm. The law of diminishing returns. It's a really wonky way to say when you start to do too much, the benefit doesn't outweigh the expense. Yeah. We see that with taxes a lot. You know, we had a bill this year that would have capped local tax increases, and it's based on that premise that when we look at environments that go in and just do these huge tax increases locally, the expense, the hurt, the pain of the tax increase doesn't reap the benefits at a certain point. And so we have to be careful that we don't try to manipulate what it means to be quality of life in Tennessee. What we want to do is allow the builders to build, the protectors to protect, the teachers to teach, give the space where people can actually succeed in the true American dream in their own varieties. But we also know that we contend with federal and global economic pressures that change things. The rising cost of housing has been a big one. So we have stepped forward. We funded a 0% interest piece on smaller houses because one of the phenomenons we were starting to see in the housing market was that builders, when they got an acre of land or a half acre of land, it wasn't economically advantageous for them to build the 3-bedroom rancher. They came in maybe at a lower, more affordable price point for a family that would be a starter home. Instead, they were building the 5,000 square foot home because they could sell it. People were moving in, they were buying it. But we had a limitation on those smaller homes. So we built an incentive program to say, hey, you can do a 0% construction loan. It's going to help you keep a little more money in your pocket to do that. But you got to build these kind of homes because the market really could use them, right? So incentivizing direction's always a good thing. What you don't want to do is demand it or manipulate it, because it's just a perpetual trap of government creating more harm than good.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. All right. You have anything pressing on that, or can you want to move on to a different topic?
No, we can move on. What's our time frame here?
I would say about 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. We'll be good.
Great.
So looking at public safety, what are some of your priorities when it comes to public safety and supporting law enforcement?
Well, we expanded the amount of troopers we had in Tennessee, and not everybody loved that because when you expanded the amount of troopers that you needed in the state, those tend to get hired away from our local departments. So it yet to be determined if that was a good move, but we definitely, with the rising population, had a statewide need for safety and enforcement, especially since we were contending with being the second largest state in overdose and fentanyl trafficking for a while. You know, I carried the bill that the DAs and I sat down year one, and we started asking ourselves, how do we prevent overdose deaths in Tennessee, especially East Tennessee? It was a predominantly East Tennessee epidemic. And they said, we got to have more enforcement. These same people are killing people. It's the same distributor handing them the stuff that's killing them over and over and over. And we're getting them with assault, plausible deniability, whatever. So I passed the bill that made it a mandatory second-degree murder charge if you distribute that poison to somebody and it kills them. And wouldn't you know it, the first conviction came here in Rhea County.
Of course.
So your laws have to be in place to protect people. They have to isolate and hopefully reform to some degree the people who perpetrate crime and create the unsafe environments. If people commit those crimes, they need to be held responsible for those crimes. And then on the other side, you have to make sure that the resources exist at those who are at the enforcement level. The first thing that Tennessee has done to help law enforcement is we did not let the anti-police, defund the police nature drift into the state. Mm-hmm. We said, no, we're going to back the blue. These guys go out every day. They put their life on the line to protect us, and we're at least going to give them the respect that they're due to begin. Following with that was, how do we make sure that the right, most capable people are in positions of leadership? As you know, law enforcement is a very local issue. County Commission, City Council, they fund it. City Council hires the chief of police. The people elect their sheriff, and how those things happen in the county. But what the state can do is make sure that the laws are there to when a person doing their job does their job, that they have the right laws in place to enforce a safe environment. Mm-hmm. We passed laws that prohibited hijacking a bridge to protest, and people couldn't get to work, and people were getting stopped, and people were scared. We cracked down on the other demonstrations and looting and damage and property damage. We've cracked down on the illegal immigration piece. That was a big one. Not the legal immigration, not the documented populations, but the people who were here for no other reason than to make us less safe, right? Committing the crimes, peddling the drugs. So the law has to back those guys up. And we as a society have to let them know, no, we're not going to be the defund police kind of culture. We're here to support you.
Yeah, good deal. Perfect.
So if we're wrapping up, we'll just go ahead and, if reelected, what are your top 3 priorities for the next 4 years?
Oh, wow. Well, number one priority that I've got to keep an eye on, a lot of this has to do with the committees that I serve on. Mm-hmm. So I'm the vice chairman of Agriculture and Energy. And we spent a lot of time on agriculture in the last 4 years trying to do what we can to protect farmland. We know that agriculture is our number one industry. We want to protect that. We're having difficulty finding people to follow and take on that land and continue to farm and be a part of the agriculture community. But we also have to preserve the land that's necessary for that to happen. But the flip side of that committee is energy, and we have an energy crisis. TVA's been dysfunctional for some time. President Trump finally has kind of got a board in place that hopefully we can get more functional. But power production's not where it needs to be. We can't sustain growth in these EV charging stations for vehicles. More or less data centers. Everybody's worked up about data centers. You can be for them, you can be against them. We don't have the way to power them right now in East Tennessee. We get a cold snap, we're buying power from Duke Energy. And so we've got to be more self-reliant in the area with power. We've made investments. We made the $50 million investment in Clinch River for the first mini reactor up there. That'll be online. They go online 3 to 5 years as opposed to 10 to 15 years. So we'll see that online in the next few years. That'll help with power production. We have a friendlier federal environment now with the Trump administration that's not trying to shut down plants anymore. They're letting us to keep them open and retool them to where we can get that power production back. So our energy crisis is going to be a big one we need to keep our eyes on. The changing condition around mental health, especially youth mental health. I've talked about it plenty for years, and I recommend anyone listening to read a book, and it's not by a Republican, so you can read it, all right? A guy named Jonathan Haidt wrote a book called The Anxious Generation, and it's the best aggregation of all of the information we have around the youth mental health epidemic, including the cause of it, which is a device-driven culture. It's less human. People aren't interacting. They're not playing outside. They're not getting the natural interactions that they need. But they're getting all the emotional damage of judgment and everything else and real-time feedback. Yeah. So we have to be aware of that. I moved a bill that still needs help to get through, which would have expanded our school counselor base in public education in Tennessee by 1,000 school counselors. Wow. And required 80% face time, which has been the professional standard for some time for counselors in an educational environment because it allows them to see and recognize when something's not right. Looking kids in the eye, human interaction, catching those things early, getting them the resources, referring them out to get what they need. But we need those providers. We can't meet the needs of our mental health epidemic because we don't have enough people to provide the therapies and things necessary. And because we have awareness now, we need to be broadly educating on the things to prevent exacerbating all of that youth mental health problem. Like we have got to get back to making sure our kids are more human. I have 2 adult children now. Still have 2 kids in the house, but they never had social media. My 20-year-old daughter still doesn't have social media, right? Don't regret that at all. There's 2 things I don't regret. I don't regret not letting my kids have social media, and I don't regret not getting vaccinated during the pandemic. I'm unvaxxed. Some of y'all are going to hate me for it. You can hate me. Adam Lowe is unvaxxed, and so is his family, and I don't regret that at all. Even though I've had COVID 4 times, yet to have a symptom. But we've got to do a better job of preventing those things. We can't so easily lean into things that we know are affecting our kids' brains. So that's number 2. The last one, I think that we have to look, we continue to have to be watchmen on the wall for the sociological changes that are trying to erode our families. We stepped forward. We were the first state in the nation to outlaw transgender surgeries in kids. And often catch a lot of criticism on social media going, that affects such a small percent of the population and you spend all... It was the bellwether of whether or not we were willing to say enough's enough, right? This gender dysphoria movement is not making people more well. We're seeing a huge influx of people who've undergone that transition treatment trying to detransition. I carried the bills this year that allow those people to sue the folks that did that to them for malpractice, because we know that they say they were preyed upon. They say they were manipulated into that course for political reasons, for sociological reasons, not for wellness. Wellness is easy to define, guys. Longevity, what helps you live longer, what makes you more content, are you happy when you live longer, and what makes you independent, are you not dependent on something. Everything about transgender care fails that test. It makes you dependent on medicine. There's no evidence that it makes you more happy and content, and you still die at a younger age than the general population. So we have got to recognize that these sociological things that challenge really endearing notions that create a nuclear family environment of people who are well, of teaching people to accept themselves for who they are. We used to tell kids that. We used to tell kids, learn to love yourself. You're beautiful as you are, right? You're capable as you are. Here's the things you can achieve. Sure, maybe you can't dunk a basketball because you're 3 foot tall and round, but you're still valuable to humanity and society. You're still worth. That narrative is gone. It's been replaced with a movement to say, well, if you don't like who you are, just change it. Just modify it. Just see a doctor. Just get some puberty blockers. Just get these kinds of things. So by all means, that is still a real battle we have to fight. And in the next 4 years, we're going to see that ramp up. That battle's not coming from within. It's coming from without. And the people who know most about socialism, and you can call it social, democratic socialism or whatever you want to call it, communism, whatever, structures that aren't American, know that the first thing you have to do if you want them to succeed is you have to erode the family. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Awesome. We are.
You can tell I'm passionate about that. I really, really am.
Yes.
Love yourself, people. Even if you hated what I said, love yourself as God designed you. And there's the camera. Yeah. As God designed you and created you, love yourself. God loves you. I love you. Love yourself.
Awesome. We are running out of time, but I do want to give you one opportunity really quick because me and you have had this conversation. You also posted about it on your Facebook today or yesterday maybe. So I do want to give you, because I have seen it on Facebook, especially in Rhea County here in the last couple of days. I want to give you the opportunity to share this really quick because I want to. I believe in giving, being fair for all candidates. But what I don't like is whenever misinformation gets spread. It causes. I like honesty. And so I want you to have an opportunity to share. So a lot of people are getting confused right now with all these PAC stuff that's going on. Can you share some context on that for the voters?
Oh, sure.
Because I know people don't really truly understand it. They see your picture on it, but that's all they see. So can you share a little bit about that?
Well, the Supreme Court ruled that's freedom of speech, First Amendment. Those organizations can say and do whatever they want to. Some of them that will say good things about you. Some of them are going to say bad things about you. And they may or may not be true. We still have laws around slander and libel, but very specific tests. You have to prove somebody knew it wasn't true and said it anyway, right? But when it comes to PACs, political action committees, there are degrees of PACs. There are some that are organized here in Tennessee. There are candidates that have PACs. Political action committee really is a structure, account structure of disclosure where people have to reveal how they spend money. And when we talk about dark money, this is money where, because it's out of state and coming from far off, it's so far removed, it's hard to find out who's behind it. The disclosure is not as clear. But most PACs operate by our ethics laws in Tennessee, and they disclose who they are. The Supreme Court has said openly, it's freedom of speech. They can say what they can say. Meanwhile, ethics laws in the state prevent me or a candidate from collaborating with them. Because if I was to collaborate with them, it could be seen as me steering their money, and that would be a violation of campaign finance law, which caps how much money somebody can give me to use on a campaign. So there is no collaboration. I mean, you talk about a hard deck, like won't take your phone call. Like if I picked up and called, I mean, it might have been a PAC piece that says I'm the most handsome guy in the world, and I might be calling to say thank you. They're not going to pick up the phone, right? They're not going to do it. And they can say whatever. So I tell people, Supreme Court's been clear, that's not going to stop. You're going to have a lot of mail in your mailboxes from various campaigns. Ask yourself if the information is true. If you get a mail piece on me, regardless of what it says, if you ask me, I'll tell you whether it's accurate or not. So anytime somebody's posted about it, all I can tell you is the information's true or not true. We shouldn't be scared of the truth if it comes wherever it comes from, right? As long as it's true, right? Regardless of who says it. That's called an origin fallacy, right? Like an origin fallacy says because it comes from here, it must not be true. That's that doesn't play out, right? So ask yourself if it's true, corroborate the truth of it. I think today I got a challenge in Rhea County from somebody saying, hey, these claims were made about you on this mailer. I responded. Yeah. Here's those are true, and here's why, right? They may not like my answers, but at least I responded to it. So that's kind of how the environment works. I know everybody gets tired of the mail. It'll stop soon. You know, the campaign will be over. It happens every 4 years. I was joking. One guy said, you're going to get fewer mail pieces than I got death threats over the past 4 years. So look at it that way. But when you get that mail piece, this is what I want people to know. Usually I'm smiling. Occasionally, if it's a negative mail piece, they'll give me this real AI grimace or something like that. But the ones I'm smiling at you. Just look, maybe you need something to brighten your day. Just say, hey, Adam Lowe thought of me in this moment. Yeah. I'm smiling at you. So there you go.
Well, thank you. I wanted to, like I said, because you get those, and a lot of misconception is they thought it was you sending those out. And there's a bottom little, the writing is little.
Paid for by.
It tells you who it's paid by for, but people only see the big part. So I wanted you to have that opportunity to be able to share that.
So far, I've sent a couple of things, but they'll say that on them. Most people would have gotten the legislative mailer, which comes from the state. I do that after every General Assembly. So we just wrapped up another one, and it's just kind of in general. It's me saying, hey, I'm working. Here's the work we did. I did send out a thank you card to people who voted in the May elections because we had such a low voter turnout. And we actually had trouble with that card because it's hard to catch people because so many of them were new voters, right? And you don't have good addresses. They've put the address in wrong or something like that. But those are the two efforts that we've really made. I will say I'm grateful for anybody who sees value in our campaign and the merits of what I've done for 4 years. Again, if you look back 4 years ago, everything I said, both in my mailers and in that campaign, I've done. I ran as a school choice candidate. We did school choice, That's why I've been so out front, kind of arguing the merits of it, dispelling that it takes money from public education. It doesn't. Public education funding's up. Dispelling that it does this. It doesn't. Rhea County got a hold harmless out of that bill. And they're not, their enrollment went back not because of the scholarship. I have to do that. But part of that is because when I ran, I committed to doing that thing, and then I'm going to commit to explaining to people why I did it. Yeah. So the greater body of what we did 4 years ago, we've delivered on those promises. Now we get a chance to make new ones and deliver on those in 4 years to come. And I appreciate you guys letting me talk about it on the air today.
Yeah, we really appreciate you for coming. And Robbie, thank you for being a part as well.
Glad to be here.
I was a little intimidated when I walked in and Robbie was in the room. You get a little north of here. That man, he carries a lot of weight. He's loved. You got a lot of mamas.
I do have a lot of mamas
in North Rhea County. I do. A lot of mamas.
There are a lot of protective ladies in Spring City that would take care of me.
I've had that. I've got political mamas that I've had since the days I started just volunteering in the local Republican Party and maintained great relationships with them. I'm telling you guys, that having political mamas is scriptural. In Timothy, where it talks about Timothy, he says, the gifts that were given to you by your grandmother. I mean, it's the matriarchal lineage. I believe that politically, too. Yeah. Having good mamas helps.
That's good. Well, all right. Well, thank you, Adam, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate you being here. You'll be able to view this recorded live, obviously, but then it'll be on our page, so you can still go back and see it if you missed it live. So thank you, Adam, for coming and joining us.
Thank you,
really
guys.
Appreciate it.
Now you get to answer all the texts of the things you didn't ask.
Yes, exactly.
You know how the show goes.
That's what,
yes.
Mine's been blown up, but it's nothing bad so far.
Oh, we got to do this again. Take two.
Good deal.
We got to get some more controversial things on the air.
Exactly. Before we do hop off,
the Beatles are overrated. Let's try that one. That one always gets somebody worked up.
Text's going to go off. Comments are going to go off. We'll see. I do want to update everybody really quick. Obviously, we do this show every Tuesday night. Next week, we have Adam McCrory running for county executive for Rhea County. He's going to be on. I will not be here next week, so I'm working VBS next week at my church. So if you have children and you're looking for Vacation Bible School, Sell Creek Church of God is holding ours next week. So look at our Facebook page, Sell Creek Church of God. Go on there. There's a QR code you can register. So I will be working that next week, so I will not be here, but Robbie will be here, and along with Ted Engel, who is the chairman of the Republican Party, he is going to come, and him and Robbie are going to tag team co-host and do that interview with Adam McCrory. Don't worry, I'll have Adam on again later with me, so we're going to do that as well. But Robbie and Ted will take good care of him next week. Still 7 o'clock. I also want to give an update. I did post a video about it earlier, but I want to go ahead and do it here on the air really quick, and then we'll hop off about the sheriff's debate that we were going to do for the general election. So I wanted to focus on getting out of the county executive debate because that was a very big task. We ended that on the 30th. Went very well, was very excited about the success of that. And then I got sick. So, and you can probably even hear it, and you've heard me coughing a lung back here some during the show tonight. I got sick, and then I've been just working and family and everything. I did work with both candidates to try to get a date where we could do even just an in-studio type debate with them. Both candidates worked really, really hard to figure out dates on when they were going to be able to both be here. I'd originally said the 7th and the 14th, not realizing that the 7th was tonight, and I've got interviews already scheduled, and then the 14th obviously being VBS, and then also I've already got interviews scheduled, so that wasn't going to work. So the other two dates that was going to try to work was going to be tomorrow, the 8th, or the 9th, being Thursday. Both the candidates definitely, one of them could do either date, but then another candidate definitely couldn't do last night, and then thought they could do the 9th, but ended up having some other meetings scheduled, so couldn't do it. So next week being VBS, I'm very big on, I want my children to be modeled by nothing comes before church. That's scripture. So I'm not going to take the time and show my kids that I can skip church to do something like this. So I'm going to live by the word of God, and I'm going to do that. So just FYI, we will not be able to host a debate with them. I have invited both of them to do a recorded interview. However, we can do that before early voting starts. Early voting also starts next week, so it's just really busy. Both campaigns are out working really hard right now, and so it's just busy. So I do want y'all to know that we did really try to do that. It's not because one candidate didn't want to or the other. We all really tried to work really hard at trying to get a date scheduled where they both could be here, and just couldn't do it because of that. So again, I want to thank you for watching tonight, and I hope that you will tune in next week with Adam and with Robbie and Ted. And thank you for watching. God bless Tennessee. Oh, he's found the buttons. Oh, he's found the buttons. That was Adam.
Sorry.
That was Adam.
My inner child has emerged
good.
Here.
I don't even know that was there. I've been
There's
doing
a chicken. Oh, I like that one.
That's what we need.
I didn't even know that box was there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. God bless Rhea County, God bless Tennessee, and God bless America. Have a good night.